What up, Dokkanners? Recently, I talked about when I think Part 2 is going to be dropping for the worldwide download celebration, and consequently, when the banners will be dropping about a week afterwards. So in today's video, I wanted to speculate a little bit further and talk about what we can expect from the Part 2 banners in terms of the major headliner LRs, and what we can expect in terms of content coming up in Part 2. We're going to do this by taking a look back at last year's Part 2 video announcement, and we're going to take a look back at the video that we got this year during the Dokkan Now presentation, like a week and a half ago. So without further ado, let's jump in. We're going to start by talking about the content coming up. I'm going to save the Carnival LR predictions for the end of the video. If you follow me on Twitter, you already know where I stand, but if you don't, which is a lot of you, we will discuss that at the end here. So let's start by talking about the timeline. So September 8th at 11 p.m. PDT is when Part 2 started for Global and JP. About a day and a half before that, we received this video. So this video was dropped exclusively on JP. Global didn't get this. Global instead got this stuff. We got a bunch of like little animation teasers and things like that. So for this video, let's actually go through it, because this video talks about pretty much what we can expect coming up. And some of it we've already even seen in Dokkan Now. So this talks about Part 2 being all about the return of Cooler, the return of Cooler. Part 1 was the first Cooler movie. Second one is all about this. So this year for Part 2, in terms of the theme, we already know what the theme is, but as far as like the illustration, are they going to update the story event image? I don't know if they're necessarily going to do that, because this seems pretty indicative of what is coming up. Although I will say there is an awful lot of negative space on this left side of this image. Maybe Goku Black Rose shows up over here, because while on the right side we've got the androids and we've got Cell, we do have two characters here on the left, but we don't have the big bad. So maybe this is going to be Goku Black Rose, and this ultimately leads into one of the primary predictions that I think a lot of people can agree on, that is Goku Black Rose coming up. So I think that this actually could receive a bit of a tweak, maybe not an overhaul like this one did, but something. Oh, and I spoiled it. Dang it. All right. Well, I spoiled my predictions. Whatever. We'll still talk about it later. So this is the story event, so that will receive an update. The free-to-play unit will be receiving a TUR, as we know. The Trunks is also set to receive a TUR. My prediction is he also receives an EZA, because that's typically how they do these things. They don't really give a unit time to breathe as a regular unit. They will just jump straight into the EZA. That is just classic Dokkan being Dokkan. So after they showed this, they then went into this, the free-to-play army receiving a full set of TURs. Now this is, I think, one of the most important elements of the celebration. We must have this year. We must have this, and it's got to be a Goku Black army, or Goku Black Rose clone army, because when it comes to worldwide download, these are some of the most exclusive characters of the year. You only get them once a year. They come back next year's anniversary time, especially for global. This is obviously pre-merger. We don't know how it's going to be this year, but still, these units don't come around all that much in terms of the summonable ones. And if you're not unlucky, if you're one of those unfortunate souls who isn't able to pull the new LRs, this is all you're pretty much going to have to show for the celebration. You're not going to really have any other summonable unit or any other fancy new unit to really show that you went through the worldwide download celebration. So having something that is sort of emblematic of the celebration to use on events, I think is very important. So Goku Black Rose, a full army, I think would be really cool. This team actually does really well with a full 200% leader skill, which we could also see if Goku Black Rose is the Carnival LR and we get a full Goku Black Rose clone army. This team would work with that unit as the friend unit. So I think that this would be a very, very good idea. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with this assertion that we should have a free-to-play team every year for worldwide download, at least. This year being Goku Black Rose, I think that would make the most sense. Is there any other possible team we could put there? I don't know if there is. Probably not. Then this video is all about the challenge events, which we know is coming up. The Divine Will Mortal Wrath thing. I know a lot of people are kind of upset on that event right now because it's very easy, but just know that they made it a little bit more accessible for players that are new to the game, because last year these events were pretty tough. So they're kind of scaling it back because they want to make it more accessible for new players. They made Red Zone insanely difficult, so don't worry about that. But they will be making this one more difficult as well. So I would imagine during Part 2, as the escalation continues, we will see more difficult, more challenging events. And then ultimately Part 3 will probably have the worst one of all. Worst one in terms of being really, really difficult. Then we go into the link levels. Okay, so this is important. The link level stage. I'm sure a lot of people have been curious about why we have yet to receive the link level up stage on Global and JP when it comes to this. They announced it, but we never got it. It's because this is coming up during Part 2. We are pretty much done with Part 1, so that is literally the only course of action for this event. So either they prematurely announced this or they never just went into too much detail about it. But this is basically the same thing as this. 3 runs every 7 days, massively boost up the links of your characters. And now they've added on an extra little caveat here where characters from Future Saga get access to stage 2. There are 2 stages now on this event. Stage 1 is anybody. Stage 2 is Future Saga exclusive, which is why I've actually stopped link leveling Future Saga characters. I'm actually very close to not having any Future Saga characters to even link level up. And assuming that I want to max out the new Carnival LRs as soon as I get them, the only characters that I would be link leveling would be any new free-to-play characters that I pick up during this celebration. So I'm kind of just dialing it back on Future Saga for right now. I don't want this event to be worthless to me. So that will be dropping during part 2. What else we got here? Then we got, oh yes, breaking through enemy lines. This is one of the marquee events that drops during worldwide download. So last year, this was all about breaking through the Cyclopean Guard, these little machines that were working for Cooler. So this year, we could totally see Goku and Vegeta trying to break through the Goku Black Rose army. That actually makes the most sense. And once again, pretty much reinforces my theory that we're going to be getting a Goku Black Rose free-to-play team. So during this, you'll basically have to, like, you know, crank your way through all these different stages, all these different waves of enemies as quickly as possible. There will be missions. These missions, I don't think they come back for a full year. So they're not overly difficult, but they will require some effort, and you got to get them done before the celebration is over because they will not be back for quite some time. And I don't know if they're going to be doing a win-loss unit this year. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. But last year we had I think we had a win-loss unit, the Bardock and the Frieza. I don't know if they're going to do this stuff moving forward with both versions joining up, but that would still be fun to see. If they could give us some free-to-play unit, you know, if one version does better than the other, then the winning side gets one free-to-play, the losing side gets the other one, and then vice versa after like half the year. That'd be pretty dope. Then we've got Red Zone. Okay, so Red Zone gets updates, obviously. So the Dismal Future Red Zone after Stage 3 Goku Black Rose. There will be even more insanity coming up. So if you thought Goku Black Rose was tough, oh, it's only going to get worse. We are probably going to be receiving 2, maybe 3 stages during part 2. I think they'll give us 2, and then they will save the final 2 for part 3. We could also see updates to other Red Zone stages, maybe more missions for different Red Zones. Cell Max, this was kind of unique because this was the precursor to the superhero joint celebration during New Year's. Could we see something similar happen this year? Maybe they set some sort of precursor for a joint celebration during New Year's. Maybe upcoming New Year's celebration 2024 is some sort of major dual Dokkan festival that they'd like to set the stage for now. I don't know if they'll do that. You never know, though. Dokkan is just so unpredictable. You never know. There's always that option. Then they talk about version Z stuff. So this is where quality of life stuff comes in. I could totally see them now talking about the merger. Maybe they actually shed some light on logistics, how this is going to be playing out, the roadmap. I hope that they do. I think it's more important that players are aware for how this is going to be shaping up, because right now there are a lot of crazy theories out there. I personally think the versions will be synced up fully by next year's worldwide download, allowing for more of an easier transition, a gradual acceleration of the content. But a lot of people are thinking that 9-year anniversary could be joint for Global and JP. And that also makes a lot of sense, because why would you want to drag this out for a full year? Why would you want this announcement to be made one full year before it ultimately actually comes to fruition? So, you know, whether we're right or wrong with our guesses, we don't have any answers and we need it. So I'm hoping that they will give us something during this video. If they don't, not a big deal, because I know it's a pretty major undertaking, but still, it would be nice. So that's what the version Z stuff was over here. Then they talk about Extreme Z area. So free-to-play units that are set to receive EZAs. My predictions for that are going to be at least this dude right here, STR Super Saiyan Trunks, and the Trunks from that Memorial Story event. And then whatever other free-to-play units that we get, which I am assuming is going to be the Metacooler army. That would be awesome. Or sorry, not Metacooler. The Goku Black Rose army. So basically the Metacooler equivalent. I would assume that they will also be receiving EZAs during this upcoming either part 2 or part 3, which would be dope. And then what else do we have here? Oh yes, EZAs. Now I want to point this out to you guys. We are getting sub EZAs confirmed. We are getting regular EZAs, Dokkan festivals, but we are also getting sub EZAs confirmed. Why is this confirmed? Because in the support campaign for the Extreme Z Awakening, they literally say new missions will be added in the future. New missions being added. Why are these missions even here? They are here to finance EZAs and to provide medals to Dokkan Awaken sub EZA characters. So if new missions are going to be added in the future, it's got to be for these 2 reasons. And one is not going to drop without the other. They're going to be doing both, which means that I believe part 2 will be having sub EZAs. So while there are a lot of theories out there about maybe dual Dokkan festival EZAs or something like that happening, I think we're going to be seeing Goku Black Rose receiving an EZA, a much needed one, and then 2 units receiving sub EZAs. Now, if we go through the Future Saga category, are there any units that might stand out that could potentially warrant any sort of sub EZA? When you're looking at sub EZAs, you want to be looking for characters who basically Dokkan Awaken using 35 medals from a main Dokkan event. So example would be STR Super Saiyan Trunks. This guy receives 35 or needs 35 medals from the Blazing Blue Fusion event to Dokkan Awaken. This guy could be set up for a sub EZA. Int Zamasu could also be receiving a sub EZA because he receives 35 medals from the Goku Black Rose Dokkan event. So they're kind of the opposites of one another, the antitheses of one another. So these 2 receiving sub EZAs would make sense. Now, it doesn't quite fall in line with the Goku Black in terms of his medals, because his medals have nothing to do with theirs, but they could just give us missions that give us those medals for those respective story events. They would obviously be from, or not story events, from those Extreme Z battle events, because the Goku Black Rose and the Vegito Blue, both of these units had their own Dokkan Awakening Extreme Z battle. So just giving us the medals from those in those missions would actually be pretty convenient and pretty easy. So I think that this is what we're going to be getting for a new lineup for EZAs in part 2. I wouldn't be upset with this. I know people would want more Dokkan Festival EZAs, and of course we'll probably get more maybe in part 3, but these guys also getting EZAs is good because this means we have even more depth in the Future Saga category, more opportunities for players who don't necessarily have all the major hard-hitting Dokkan festivals to have something. This guy will be good. He's a great tank already. So giving him a modern day EZA with 40% damage reduction, which will likely go up to maybe, I don't know, like 50, 60. His stats going up the less HP he has. Maybe he gets a starting stat point. He also has a multiplicative defensive super. I would imagine this guy is going to become an insanely busted tank. And then for the Int Zamasu, he is a tank himself with 40% damage reduction. Not much of a passive. He'll probably get more. He could raise attack and defense. He could heal a whole lot more. There's a lot of potential with these 2 characters. So even if you don't like them, they are going to be really, really good if they ever do receive an EZA. So that's what this announcement was. They even go into detail on the Dokkan Festival one. So Goku Black could potentially be receiving some details. And then finally, the final piece of the puzzle, the illustration reveal. So Global gets this automatically. JP gets this in this video, and they show the new LRs. So this year, who will the new LRs be for the Dual Carnival celebration? Here are my predictions, as I spoiled early on in the video. Goku Black Rose and Int Trunks, or STR Goku Black Rose and Int Trunks. That is my first prediction. This makes the most sense. I think a lot of people are probably thinking this. Goku Black Rose being a part of this celebration, I think also fits with the representation that we got during part 1. It was all about Zamasu. Let's get some Goku Black Rose in here. And Trunks being essentially the main character of this entire celebration in terms of the narrative, I think would also make sense. Now, my hot take is we take out the Trunks and we throw in the 1718, or maybe we just take out the Rose and throw in the Trunks here and then make the 1718 the opposite of the Trunks. Now, the reason why I think the Android 1718 is worth discussing is because of the theme of this celebration. This campaign will mainly focus on the future world that Trunks lives in as depicted in Z and Super. And as we've seen from the story event, the promotional material, there is some Z representation. Now, while you could argue that the Z representation is relegated to the free-to-play content, which, to be fair, is possible, I just think that there is also a chance that we could be looking at a possible dual villain banner or dual villain banners to kind of further the point of a dismal future. The dismal future, you know, it wasn't a good time for Trunks, right? He had to deal with a lot. One of the most tragic characters ever. And so having both banners be all about the reasons why Trunks experienced so much despair and pain, I think would actually kind of fit the theme of the celebration. Obviously, a lot of people would want a Trunks, so don't sit here thinking that I'm wishing for, you know, Trunks to get shafted. Anyone we get, I'm going to be happy. I don't care. I've been loving the celebration so far. I'm loving the Future Saga celebration overall. I just think that it is not, it's worth mentioning that this could be a possibility. And recently, I have somehow been right about a lot of things, which is very terrifying for me because this doesn't feel natural. It's very comforting knowing that whatever crazy take I have, it never happens. But somehow some of my crazy takes have actually been coming true. Dual Dokkan Festival, Vegito and Zamasu. 90% of the banner units, or just the entire banners themselves, I predicted right. I don't know. Maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I'm full on insane. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you think that there is justification, some reasoning for Android 1718 getting some sort of representation on the summonable side during this celebration? I think so. Because when Trunks comes back, to that dismal future, he destroys the android. So having an 18 that exchanges or revives into a 17 would actually be pretty cool, I think. And plus, we haven't had an LR, summonable LR Android 1718 in quite some time. I think the last time we had one was the physical 16, 17, 18, right? Let me actually pull that up. Let's go to the Android 17, 18 future here. Disambiguation. So yeah, we got 17, 17, 18. Is it not here? I guess it's not here. All right, whatever. It's this one. This one, Dokkan awakens into the LR androids. I think this is the last one that we got. So it's been a while. It's been, what, 4 years? Give us some more. I don't think anyone would be opposed to that. I think at the cost of Trunks, though, that would be a problem. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about everything that I had to say during this video. What do you think the Part 2 Carnival LRs are going to be like? Do you think that a Goku Black Rose free-to-play army makes a lot of sense? In terms of EZAs coming up, Goku Black Rose is something that everyone can agree on, but in terms of the sub EZAs, what other sub EZAs do you think or would want to have during Part 2 or even Part 3? Let me know your thoughts overall in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content of the future and click the notification bell so that you'll let us know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it! Thanks again. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.